Morning. Welcome to session 2, all about your business goals for this next chapter. I know it's much more, aspirational to talk about your 5-year plan, or maybe it sounds more impressive, but I know, and certainly from speaking to parents at the school gate this morning, lots of people are tired. Lots of people are a bit overwhelmed, a bit, They need simplicity, is what I was saying. And the teacher, in fact, just sent us on our way and said, go and have some peace and quiet. Go and have some time to yourself. And I love this time of year because it's a really lovely opportunity to check in and see where you are up to. So yesterday I spoke about the business goals, like where you're going, what this is all about, where do you want to be by Christmas. So if you missed day 1, go back and have a little listen. But today, and I'm going to pre-warn this, today is the less sexy session. As in, I know people love the act of goal setting, the cutting out. I remember doing a goal setting workshop actually for the staff members of Topshop in Oxford Circus, and it was a beautiful event. I was just there as the speaker, but they had organised this events company and it had a big grazing table and photo opportunities and the stationery. It was so beautiful. They'd got these amazing like crinkly scissors. It was great, and people were just having cocktails, having this grazing, cheeses and fruits and all sorts of things, and really enjoying the process of setting goals. And so today's session might, in comparison, feel a bit flat because it's not about the future stuff. It's about where you are right now. And sometimes that is the bit that we don't want to do, because when we do that, when we take that action, that's when it sometimes becomes a bit more serious or a bit more confronting. And so I want to work this through with you in a very, if I could bring you into my living room and have a cup of tea and make you a grazing plate to do this bit, I absolutely would, because this is the work, if you do it, that will actually make the big dreams a reality. That's the piece that is going to shift how you move forward from here. It's not actually just getting clearer and clearer on the vision. And this is what people say is like, make a decision, get really specific, do all of the things. But actually what we need to do right here, right now, is check in with where we are. I gave an analogy the other day about people talking about the vision, maybe in terms of a car, like where they wanted to go on a long journey. And I know when we went on our holidays a couple of weeks ago, we were talking to Luna for ages. We just had Luna in ours, and my son went with my mum and my stepdad. And for ages, we were talking about where we were going to stop on the way, and the fact we were going to pass Peppa Pig World, and what we were going to have in our picnic, and all of these things. But the truth is, we can spend time in the big vision, like where we're going, what's happening, what's going on. But in terms of that car journey, unless you look at where you are parked right now and how easy it is to get out of that parking space, you're going to be at a complete standstill. You can't, unless you figure out how to get things moving and get out of the car parking space in the first place, it's not necessarily going to help you. So this is what it is all about today. This is what it is all about today. Wow, that was good English, wasn't it? I want to go through a couple of areas and check in right now. And where you can, when I ask you these questions, and a client of mine was saying the other day, she was doing one of my online courses and we're working together over a long period of time. And she was saying there is so many clues for her when she gets an exercise where she says, I'm going to pause it there. I'm just going to go make a cup of tea. And she knows, because she's so self-aware as well, and I do it too. When I'm pausing and making a cup of tea, that is when I should actually be focusing in on that, because there's often something in there that's like, oh, I don't want to look at that right now. Oh, that's a bit uncomfortable for me. But if you can, and sometimes you have to do all of those techniques of like feeling like giving yourself a hug, holding yourself through that process and saying, and I've done it so often in my life, like if I can make the scary phone call, or if I can actually look at the numbers, or if I can write the email that I don't want to do, or if I can figure out a process that I've been putting off for so long, that's when I know that great things are on the other side of that, essentially. It's almost like your reward. You know, if you can do that sticky bit, or if it was a physical journey, if you're hiking up the hill, and then you get the view on the other side and you're like, okay, thank you. And another thing I want to say is, once you do this work, and you do that kind of clear out of stuff and really noticing what is happening, the results come quickly, because it's like a reset for yourself, that your body goes, right, we know where we're going now. We know what's in, what's out, what we're available for, what we're not. We know what the situation is. So for example, again, if we use a physical space, I know, people call it the shit drawer, don't they? Everybody's got a shit drawer where they just put loads and loads of stuff in. But if I get round to clearing out the shit drawer and I get everything out and I order it and I take stuff out that has no business being in the shit drawer and get it organized, I am so particular going forward about what then goes back in. And I know I've looked at Matt sometimes like, don't be just dumping that thing in the drawer, because we're not doing that anymore. And the fact that for 5 years or 11 years before, like we lived in the old house, everything was accumulating, not anymore. That's what it's like with your business. Once you've done this work, once you've pulled the stuff out, you become really aligned, really focused, and really strategic going forward, because you know what it's all about. And again, if you just keep loading stuff in or just getting really busy, you're just going to continue in the same way. And you can say, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. But in a way, you can't see the wood for the trees, because it's so busy in your current reality. So first of all, I'm going to ask you about how you are feeling. And I know that that's not very businessy, because people want to see the numbers and the spreadsheets and the that very masculine way. But first and foremost, I think it's really important to check in with how you are feeling right now. And it's not just one thing. Again, we know we are nuanced people. So I am feeling a mix. I am feeling excited about September and a new chapter. I'm also feeling a bit apprehensive because my youngest is starting school. I hope she's going to be okay and that process is going to be smooth, but I don't really know. So I'm that's in the back of my mind as well. There are other things going on too, but also I think when I keep coming back to feelings, I'm always connecting with energy. And one of the things that a couple of parents were saying this morning, and what I was saying was, I actually don't feel rested like I used to back in the day after a holiday. I don't feel like, oh gosh, I just can't spend another day on a beach relaxing, like I'm ready to do something now. I actually, and my friend Dominique said this to me today, I actually need a holiday on my own. That would be lovely. So again, I've banked that thought. I'm going to write it down today and say, this time next year, I want to have had one of those lovely all-inclusive holidays where I don't have to cook, where I don't have to clean up, and it's very casual and very relaxed. And maybe I might have a nap on a sunbed in the shade, probably because I'm pale and ginger. But yes, that's given me so many indications. So firstly, go into how you're feeling. What is your energy like? What is your capacity right now? How are you feeling mentally? Are you feeling purposeful or not? What is going on? Write it down. Secondly, let's talk about income. And you can go into as much or as little detail as this, but you know yourself if you're making the kind of money that you want to or not. So you might want to reflect over the 6 weeks holiday, or the last 3 months, or the last whatever it is. And I want you to think about the money that you've made and how you've been making it. And then how has that felt? And this is a really great opportunity for you to reflect on how you are working and how you are being paid, how you are packaging your services. So I've had clients, for example, that have been making incredible money, but they then get to a point and they say, but it doesn't work for me. I'm not enjoying what I'm doing. I feel like I'm losing myself. I'm losing my personality in this, and I need to tweak the way that I'm doing it. Likewise, some people are going, I'm traveling all the time and I just don't have a day to myself and a friend of mine was saying this the other day. She was saying, I really need Friday to work on my stuff, my strategy, to step back from things and not be in meetings, not be working with clients, and really have that time for herself. So when we're talking about money, we're always talking about how it feels as well. Now, of course, we want to make way beyond what our outgoings are. I know people say, like, what do you need to earn a month? But I never do money goals with clients like that, because I want you to live your life. I want you to be able to go and do nice things and not feel like you're scrimping and saving and like getting smaller and smaller the whole time. But really thinking about how you want things to go in terms of your money, like what has been happening. And there have been so many moments over the years when I've had that check-in. And sometimes there has been it's been stark doing that. And again, it's been like really looking at your bank statements, and that can feel really uncomfortable or triggering, or I'm going to use the word shameful sometimes, because there have been months where I'm just like, what am I doing? This is not working, or I feel like I'm working so much and I'm not seeing it in my bank account. And so where you can, as you go through this process, please be kind with yourself and try wherever you can to take the emotion out of it and just say, I'm investigating, I'm pulling together information. This is what's going to get me to the next level. So sometimes you have to hold on tight and say, right, for the next half an hour, this is what I'm doing. And I'm going to get as much information out of this as possible. So again, linking back to maybe the goals that you made yesterday, I want you to think about what your current situation is and how far away does that feel. So, there will be so many clues in here. Into tomorrow's session, we're really going to go into like the gaps and how we can uncover a bit more about that. So think about your finances there. Next, I want you to think about what's happening with your audience, your customers right now. This is a really interesting one because a lot of people will tell you that over the summer, people close down. But certainly in my industry, personally looking at my data, and again, doing this data sometimes is a really great thing because you discover things and you go, oh, hang on about, oh, I didn't even realize that was happening. when I looked at my data, I noticed that my engagement and my reach had gone up by about 89% in the month of August as opposed to July. And according to what society or trends would say, that would be quite unusual. Oh, nobody's on their phone, everybody's on holiday, everybody's having a lovely time. But actually, even on Christmas Day, people are on their phones. People are on their phones in restaurants, on beaches, on aeroplanes. Like there's never a question about that. People are always looking and searching for things. But what I've noticed, especially in my engagement, is that it has sparked people's interest, or people have had the capacity and the space to think about things that maybe they wouldn't in their normal routine. And as I did this exercise myself of where am I now, I was so delighted to find I love all of my clients that I'm working with at the moment. That makes me so happy. I had a few emails with my agent the other day, and he's just brilliant. I love the way that we're so straight with each other, and we know exactly what the other one means, and it's just not complicated. And so discovering those sorts of things was really great, because there have been times when I don't know, I felt like everything had sort of leaked out a little bit. So really thinking about what's happening with your customers and your clients right now. Another thing that I've noticed is that there are, for me personally, a lot of repeat customers. So lots of people who are working with me now have been working with me for years, or already are planning like their next series of sessions. And I love that. I love being able to do that deep work. So as I did this exercise, I really thought again about the feelings, but how much connection is important to me. So I don't want to have this big faceless business where I don't know my clients, but yet I'm expecting them to pay thousands, and they're expecting me to work with me, but they don't see me because it's always a hello at somebody else. It's been really interesting. So again, all of these ideas and findings will give you some indication of where you go next. The next thing, ease and logistics. What is going on in terms of your business? Does it feel like, if you had to have a relationship with it, if you were to analyze your relationship with your business, what would you say? And, okay, here's me being very honest. I felt on my holidays this year, when I asked myself, I felt like I couldn't take my eye off it. And that surprised me when that phrase came up. Like, I didn't feel like I could take my eye off it. And it's slightly different because I'm not employed. I do run my own gig, and I have to be available in a sense to emails, and I want to be professional and responsive and all of that. Or if anyone's got a problem customer service wise, as in they can't access something, I don't want to leave them hanging. I want to support them every step of the way. But I noticed on my holidays, I was doing things that I should have taken off my plate years ago, that I should not be doing. And that sense of having to keep your eye on something is not relaxing. So when I go forward and I think about, okay, what are my business goals? I need to then figure out if the goal is that sometimes I want to be able to take my eye off. Sometimes I want to be able to relax a little bit. That is when I need to look at my ease and my logistics. What am I missing here? What's going on? Okay. Two more things. I was thinking about knocking my own socks off. This is a phrase I use all of the time. And in terms of the goals, I had loads. Things that I want to do, people I want to work with, stuff that I want to create, and all of that stuff. creating the big goals has never been a problem. But when I looked at where I was right now in terms of knocking my socks off, I realized that because of the summer, because of having children at home, if I looked at August, for example, I hadn't had any auditions. And again, no problem at all, but I'm just being factual here. I hadn't done any speaking gigs. I hadn't recorded any podcast interviews. I hadn't done any sort of exciting projects that I just was like, oh my goodness, I'm doing this. A lot of the work that I had been doing had been very underground and very non-Instagram friendly. So the acting course that I did, for example, for 10 weeks, it was incredible. But it wasn't for the gram. It was very much, I mean, nothing really is for the gram, not in my case anyway, but it was me being fully immersed in a classroom situation almost. You know, I was not going, hi guys, I'm doing an acting class. Oh wow, hope it goes well. I wasn't outside of myself. I was inside of myself, being a student, being analytical, being present. And sometimes that can not be that, and I'm not seeking this, but not be that impressive in terms of the outside world. When you see something, or I've noticed it, you know, when I've been on telly or things like that, people are like, oh my gosh, you did this thing. And what I noticed when I went underground and like did this chat with myself is that even though the flowers, the knock your own socks off things haven't had a harvest for the last few months, I know that all of the seeds that I've been planting and nurturing and looking after, I know they are about to pop up. And I am so ready for that. I am so ready for that moment. And so when you do this reality check, it's so good for you, because I could easily get into a spiral of like, oh, I haven't had an acting gig for a while, haven't done any speaking, or been at home with my children. Like, I could easily go into a negative space, a space that I don't truly feel would be appropriate. And so now what I do is having a good look around, going, well done, mate. You spent 14 hours on all that website stuff. You've really put in some strong foundations. You've been creating some content that has boosted your engagement by 89%. Notice it. So, yes. And finally, what do you need? What do you need? I mean, sometimes after a holiday, it can be very practical. It's like, I need less stuff. That's come up for me. I need less stuff. I need better systems. The general storage organization of under people's beds is no longer working for me. And I can say that loud and proud. I said to Matty, I mean, romance isn't dead, hey. We need plastic storage boxes on wheels that we can shove under there that allow things to be organized. That is the next plan. I need some more plants and fruit and veg in my life. I also need water, less booze. I mean, I haven't had loads of booze, but I don't really drink in general life. So I've had lots in comparison to that over the holidays. I need some like proper time alone or more time alone. And that it's okay to feel like that. When my son went back to school today, there were some parents who were like, wow, I feel really emotional. And bizarrely, I just didn't feel like that. I felt like it was time. He was ready to go back and find some structure, and so was I, because I know that I'm going to be a different mum this term and going forward, because I'm going to have much more of that. I'm not even going to say balance, but like a different blend in my week. So to summarize, please don't be scared about poking around in this. And also, this is the stuff most people don't want to do. This is the stuff people want to avoid because, as I mentioned, it's not as exciting, etc. They would much rather go, right, this is my year, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. But remember, no goal is completed or achieved in the same way from person to person. So you have to get to know yourself, your habits, your patterns of behavior, your limiting beliefs, the way you do things consciously, subconsciously, and you have to set yourself up for success. There are some goals, for example, that I would be working on, and I've spoken about it before, but hot yoga, I know that I could do it for free as much as I wanted on a YouTube channel. I know it's there. I know it's available. I know that people have series and like 30 days of whatever, but it doesn't work for me. I won't do it regularly. I get distracted. I will start in my room and then I'll suddenly like see a big load of dust down the back of a skirting board and I'll start doing that, or a child will come in. The only way that I have consistently grown my yoga practice is paying somebody money for 6 months and actually going. That works for me. Likewise, I did a video on it with Duolingo. I have only improved because that little Duolingo person pops up every day saying, hi, Nikki, have you done your Spanish today? Hi, don't lose your streak. Come on, let's go. I know these things about myself. And so it doesn't matter if somebody else is like, well, I'm so disciplined. Like, I can easily do 25 minutes of self-study yoga every day. Brilliant. I am not that person though. Or equally, they might be able to have a course of like 6 evening classes and just have Spanish down. Again, I am not that learner. I am not that person. So this is about really getting to know yourself in the process. Where can you go next? Okay, so if you've liked this kind of information, the next best place to go is Jam and Plan. It's 4 hours, it's 4 lessons, and it will really give you that 360 check-in and giving you a lot more kind of detailed exercises. Again, none of it is scary. None of it means like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to find 2.5 days now to pull together all my bank statements and like, oh gosh, I don't want to do that. It's not scary. It's just simply giving you information. So there are 4 sessions. One is a goal setting one. Another one is about money. One is about selling. And another one is about visibility and growth and what you need to do next. Jam and Plan, the course is on my website. Just go to the How I Help page or nickyraby.com/work with me. And select the Jam and Plan course. If you want help with this, by the way, with all of my courses, I have an add-on strategy session. Well, I have 2 options that you can add on depending on what your budget is or your time frame. But if this is your month, let's do this thing. If you want 30 days of working on this and really building a strong habit, when I work with my one-on-one clients, I allocate time every single day to check in with my clients, and them knowing that I am holding that space going, hi, how you doing? Are we doing this thing? What happened? What worked? How did that phone call go? Did you say yes? Did you say no? Etc. That is so, so powerful. I'm going to leave it there today. Thank you so much for watching, for listening. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, whether you're listening on the podcast or watching on my YouTube channel or anywhere else. Just give it a little like, give me a high five. Let me know that you've been watching it, because I know lots of this information that I've shared today will be so useful for lots of people. So I want to share the love and help people create what it is that they want to be, do, have and feel. Sending you lots of love, and I'll see you tomorrow. You can go back if you're just joining. Bye.